Brad Newberg of SB Nation here, talking to Field Gulls, our Seahawks blog, for our Monday Minute, where we ask one NFL-related question and one fantasy-related question. Russel Wilson, while great, has been wildly inconsistent this year, showing flashes of absolute brilliance, but also having games like this last week. Is there any level of concern about his play?
I think about it like this. As you play a video game, the game gets harder as you go along. The designer knows that you've never played the game, therefore it starts out easier so that you can get used to the controls. Then the bosses get harder and harder as you move up, and all these video gamers, or nerds, end up becoming better at the game as they go along because it's soft blows. Well, in the NFL, like most sports, it doesn't work that way. You don't get to pick and choose what bosses you get to fight as you move along. Russell Wilson has faced a lot of tough bosses. He's faced endgame bosses in games like San Francisco at San Francisco. The NFC West is the most difficult pass defense division in the NFL, and I'm not concerned at all to expect Russell Wilson, a third-round rookie, to be struggling at times, and I'm encouraged by the fact that in other defenses, like against New England Patriots, he excels quite a bit. I think you have to have a certain level of expectations. If you have a third-round rookie, you should expect certain things to come along with that in his first season. If you go out with me, you should not expect me to be a male model or a doctor. That's not what I am. I'm not saying that Russell Wilson can't be great or that we shouldn't expect better out of Russell Wilson. But as far as my expectations go, this is exactly what I would have expected, and I'm not concerned at all about him being inconsistent.
Fantasy-wise, Sidney Rice has been sort of a major disappointment. Is there any hope that Sidney Rice can become a consistent fantasy stud, or at least consistent fantasy producer for the rest of this year?
Continuing that with Sidney Rice, I do not expect Sidney Rice to be a consistent fantasy contributor moving forward. The offense is conservative. They're last in the NFL in pass attempts. Their job is not necessarily to get big yards in the passing game, and that's going to hurt Sidney Rice's fantasy value. However, Rice gets great separation, and against mediocre, average, or plain just good secondaries and cornerbacks, Rice can get separation, make a big play, and against a team like the Lions, or perhaps the Buffalo Bills, he could be in line for over 100 yards and a touchdown.